in a gist at what you need to do in terms of creating a buzz, a perception, an identity for your particular club. Create the identity, identify the audience, pick the channels that are right for you, make sure that you're creating content with the right kind of format, promote it well, and do engage. So that's a gist of it. Hands on poster creation, some tips to create effective posters. First of all, it's not like advertising or any other place where we have some leeway. We have some tight TMI brand guidelines that we need to adhere. So I would request all of you to go see the brand manual. These are some excerpts from the extracts from the manual. First and foremost, logo. It needs to be as depicted here, not having enough gap, and we cannot distort that video in any form. On the left, you might see that there is something called I am just saying. That's not a tagline. So clubs, areas, divisions, there are no new, you cannot put any new taglines. The only tagline that you can have is where leaders are made. That's the official tagline. I'm just saying that's not a tagline. So I did some Googling and I found that it is a club in Colorado. So whoever was in the design team probably thought that, okay, it's a fun thing to put their club name out there. So all you can do is you can put under the logo either your area, district, division, or the club name. Right. When it comes to colors, they've defined the palettes. The main colors are maroon, blue, gray, and an accent color of lemony yellow or happy yellow. Yeah. So these are the only things. But here's a tip. You can sort of extend this color range by using gradients. So when we go on to the tool, I'll show you what a gradient is. Of course, black and white are acceptable colors too. If you see the brand guidelines or brand manual, they have elements of black and white. And of course, here you can see the example of gradient here. If you see the left-hand corner of this page, it is a dark blue, which is the original blue. And towards the right, it is a very light shade of blue. So that's called gradient, where you start off with a darker shade of a color and then use gradients to lighten the color. Yeah. So that's acceptable. From a font point of view, yes, there are limitations. You have Gotham, which is a very clean looking, modern looking font, which you can use for headlines and subheaders. Then for the text, you could use Myriad Pro. Of course, they've also mentioned the alternatives because these are paid versions and most of the tools do not have this as a default, these fonts. So there are alternatives, free alternatives like Montserrat, especially if you're working on Canva. Montserrat is already there natively. And you could also use Sans Pro for instead of Myriad Pro. Now, this is the most tricky part of the whole branding guidelines, the usage of images and photography. I know that a lot of clubs love to use images in their posters. Now, here's some guidelines. First of all, we cannot use landscapes, animals, children, food appliances, medicine, and architecture. Now, the key word here is mainly or solely. So they cannot be standalone. If a TMOD is having his pasta or he's in a landscape, that's okay. That's an exception. But solely depicting a food or landscape is not allowed. And of course, what is tightly guarded is no cartoons, illustrations, clip arts. So these are some things that you should definitely avoid. Now this year they have also improved upon the brand manual by adding some guidelines for videos. So for example, if you have all seen the district video called the PR snippets, where we have inserted a couple of slides or frames. One is the disclaimer, and the other one is the credits, who created the video. Because if there is any clarity or questions, we all know whom to ask for, which team created it. So it's quite important to have these elements, especially in your video. Now let's get to how to create a poster. So first of all, think of the basics. Who are you? What kind of personality you have? Who is it for? Is it an internal communication or is it for the public? And what message do you want to carry? So here's a couple of examples. We have a club called DIC. They are in Dubai Internet City. I like this because it's an announcement of the team, but the background, they have picked something which is true to their identity. They are in the technology space, and most of their members are from that particular space. So I like the way they have constructed this poster. Next, we also have a club called Bollywood Toastmasters. Here the persona is different, very vibrant, and they have a unique identity, and they appeal to a particular kind of audience who want to be part of this club. Then we also have another poster which is from Pond Park Advanced, which is a senior or a mature club, but they want to put the message out that we are different. So you can look at the way they have constructed this poster with emphasis on what's different. Right. So once you've made or have a preparatory thought about what is the mood of your poster, you need to start creating an outline. You need to look at the 5 whys and how. That is what, when, where, who, why. So you need to have the title, you need to have a date, time. If it's an event, then where is it? Is it going to be on Zoom? Who's going to be the TMOD? Or if it's the team that you're announcing, you need all that information. Yeah. What is the purpose of this particular poster? Is it to invite or just to inform? That will actually get into the creative side, how you say that story, how you construct that story. But first of all, for a poster to be effective, it needs to be minimal. Remember, less is more. Then comes the color choice, the third step. You need to think about what are the colors that you're going to use in the poster. And if you look at effective posters or InDesign, you will have a primary color, you will have a secondary color, and then you will have an accent color to focus certain attention. Yeah. So you need to have this kind of ratio in mind. This is an interior design. If you look at this, you see that it is very aesthetic because the colors are in proportion, in the right proportion. Same thing you will see on a website. This is the MailChimp website. If you see that they have 4 colors, of course, mainly 3, the yellow and the black, which gives the contrast. And the blue is just to give that accent or highlight, because these are call to action buttons. Then you have add images to boost that visual appeal. Remember, first and foremost, the TMI guidelines, the boundary walls that we play in. So pick the appropriate image which is relevant for the poster. use photographs that balance the text around it, right? Here's one example which I really like. Is where you have text and they've cleverly used the image embedded within that text to give that emotion. Here are a couple of other examples where images have been used, and I just wanted to highlight this second one where the TMOD is eating probably a noodle, right? So this is okay and this is acceptable, and you're playing within the TMI guidelines. But if you just show the noodle and just have a title called food, then I think you're violating that guideline. Here's another set of example. This happened a couple of weeks back, where someone just pinged me and said, "Anu, have a look at this poster. Is this fine?" First and foremost, the one on the left, it's just an image with some text overlays. Is not acceptable because it's solely portraying a landscape. But if you have a context of the TMOD having fun, then you are still within the guideline. So these are some things that you need to. Then when it's time to add copy, you need to think about the structure. What's your headline? What are the details? How does it flow? What are the fonts to be used? Let me give you an example. What do you see here? Probably you see a set of or a grid of circles, right? Now, if I change one of those elements, your eye directly goes to that particular black circle. This is how our brain works, how we perceive things. Now, this is an excerpt extract from the Gulf News a couple of days back. It's great, but there is a demarcation in terms of sentences, but it's still difficult to get a gist by looking at it. But if you look at this example, you see that clearly there is a visual hierarchy. You see a headline, you see a subheader. Just by reading that header, you know what the gist is all about. You know, what is it all about? What message are they trying to convey? So even in your poster, even in your content creation, have a visual hierarchy. Here's another great example where appropriate words or texts have been highlighted by clever play of sizes and colors. And it's again 3 colors used in this particular poster: the white, the yellow, and the red. And if you look at the main headline is of a particular size, the brand is of a particular size, and look at that profitability of 15%. This is an ad for hiring more women in leadership roles. A brilliant example of how you can make the poster very, very effective. Another great example where the focus of this particular poster is about the collective strength. And this is a partnership between Royal London and the insurance company and the English Cricket Board. But the focus is all about the partnership. Finally, if you have a particular purpose for a poster or a flyer, you need to have a call to action. So if it is you want to build membership, if it is club growth is something that you're looking at, you need to have that call to action very distinct. Do not have multiple messages. Please come to our meeting. And also something else, do not put out multiple messages in one single poster because it dilutes the whole thing. So this is an example how you can have a great call to action. This is trying to drive traffic to a particular website, mathaware.org, and very nice little copy they have with different fonts, different colors, and at the end you have an accent where you want to have that call of action, people going to their website and checking that particular website. So these are some examples that we had. Yeah. So this is an appropriate time for me to just stop the presentation. Now we're going to an interesting stage where we're going to have the live creation of a poster. So let me share my screen again. What we're going to focus today is a tool called Canva, which is quite popular. And in my mind, I mean, this is one of the best tools out there. Earlier, I used to create some presentations on using Microsoft PowerPoint. But once I found Canva, I think it's incredibly easy to create. Yeah. So from a functionality point of view, from a usability point of view, this is one of the best platforms out there. I'll tell you why, because there are tons of templates that you can easily customize and make it your own. And of course, can you all see the screen? I have the Canva website open. Can you all see? Midat?
Yes, it's
Yes,
visible.
okay.
Yes.
So once you log into Canva, this is the home page that you see. So of course, I have a paid account of Canva, but it's you have a free version of Canva that is more than adequate to create posters. Now, from an interface point of view, what is great is they have these templates and they have under categories. Whether it's a social media post, whether it's a personal card, business related items like a logo, business card, invoice, they have different categories. And within social media, you have different social media related templates. For example, a Instagram post is square. Instagram story is long form. A Facebook post can be uh, a portrait mode or a landscape mode. Then you have the Facebook cover. So first and foremost, it can give you tons of templates that are already there. You can pick one and then start off, change few elements and make it your own. Then comes your designs. So if you've been working on specific things, all your designs are shown in under this particular tab, right? Then you have a brand kit. This is something in the paid version where you can add your own brand assets. For example, the TMI logo. This is uh, my other company logo and so on. Then you have the TMI colors that you can add. There is a limitation in the number of colors that you can add in the palette in the free version. I think it's 3. Then another feature in the paid version is that you can upload all the fonts required. For example, the Gotham, I have recently uploaded the Myriad Pro. These are the 2 approved fonts. But as an alternative, as per the brand guidelines, the original Montserrat is good enough. This is a natively available font. Of course, with the paid version, you have the team. You can share your particular design and so on, and then collaborate. And you can also create different sets of folders and create designs under each folder so that it's well organized. Now let's go create a new design. Today we will try to create a poster. So all you have to do is what I did was create design, choose the kind of asset that we want to create. We want to create a 42 by 59 inch. This is a standard set format. Similarly, you can browse through what are all the templates that are available. But for now, we'll just create a poster. So once you are in this interface, You'll see the white canvas here, a bunch of templates categorized. Then you have the first icon on the left, which is active. That's why you see the templates. Here are your uploads, which are the pictures that you have uploaded into Canva, right? Then you have photos. So this is the place where Canva gives you access to professional looking photographs. Some of them are paid. So if you hover over them, you'll know which is free and for example, if you have this crown and says pro, that means available only to a pro subscriber. That means if it's a paid version, but you can filter that. For example, saying I want to see only free. So these are all free content. These are all free photographs. So you can use any of these images in your poster. Then comes elements. This is a segment where you have different artifacts that you can use within the poster. Maybe it's shapes, frames, stickers, chart. You have gradients, you have lines. Of course, these kind of illustrations better to avoid as per PMI, especially these. Text, of course, we have the simple text fields according to the headline, subheader, and body. And then Canva also gives some presets, right? These are things that you can add on and then probably change the font, change the color. So these are starter templates on the text. And more recently, Canva has added video editing or video creation capabilities. So there are some video content that they provide. Again, you can curate based on free and pro. Backgrounds. This is something that you can add onto the poster to create a background. Of course, we are limited with our colors here. For example, the TMI colors, right? Then there are other things which are apps that can be integrated, especially if you've finished doing a poster, you can integrate it and post it directly from Canva and so on. So we'll get to all that advanced features later, but let's start creating a poster. So today I was just thinking about a theme called music, and look at music has no boundaries. Okay, that's the theme that someone has given. So let's go for some elements. Sometimes what I do is I just look at, for inspiration, maybe a guitar, probably this could be my element. But I also have, from a process point of view, there are certain elements that I want to add onto my canvas. That is, what is the club name, the logo of Toastmasters, the five whys, right? So we want to put the venue, when it is happening, where it is happening, all those things. Let's start with that. So in the headline, all I did was click this and I've added a text here. Let's say I'm making this poster for gardens. What you can do is, if you want to decrease the size, you can just take the corner and drag it. It'll adjust the size. And when you move this around, do you see this pink guidelines? You can use that to as an anchor to place your text. So probably here, and I need the Toastmaster logo. I've already uploaded. Now uploading this into Canva is, all you have to do is go to the file system, copy that or select that, drag it and drop it here. Once you drop it, it is available for you to use in any of your projects. So I'm going to drag that into the canvas. There you go. Place that right next to gardens, and it is neatly aligned with the lockup here. And we also want to have additional information saying, okay, some clubs do it. I don't typically do it, but today I will. So you want identity, right? You want to say it is club number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And space, I would say area 48, division L, district 105. For all this information, what I'll do is I'll just adjust the height. Okay, if you see the size of that, it's around 30. I'm going to put it right there. Now what I can do is, next is the uh, you have the timing. Maybe I'll put the time here. It is on 11. So I'm deliberately using Montserrat. I'm not using the Gotham because many of you would be using the free version of the tool. So this is something called proximity. People will look at things which are related, clubbed together. They don't like the look of. Without any questions so far?
Yes, there are a few questions.
Please,
Shall I share it?
I can take some.
Yes. Shall I shoot the next
Yeah,
question?
please.
Okay. The other one is to just shed some light on the usage of icons. Like, is it a complete no, or can we use icons related to Toastmaster International for the creativity purposes?
When you say icons, logos, you mean, right?
Yeah, I believe the word icons they're referring to, like Zoom icon, Instagram.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, as long as it's not the main item there. And what they recommend is, especially if it's a corporate poster, if you want to have the corporate logo, it needs to be diametrically opposite side, distinct away from the Toastmaster. So following just that guideline, I would say make it less prominent at the bottom if you really need to have it. You really need to have it, go for the minimal design, I would say. But if you need to put it away from the main logo. What you can do is you can select the image, you can rotate it, maybe something like that. Make sure it's nice and aligned. So I have this, and I might say, okay, let's have a text and have a visual imagery plus some text around it. Yeah, music is the main theme, right? So yeah, extra bold. So this is allowed. So this is how you can play with the size to create that visual impact.
Some interesting questions are popping up.
Yeah, please.
You want me to share?
Yeah, please.
Okay, now to clarify on this icon thing. So can we consider this guitar as an icon? I mean, people can still use something
Not an
similar,
icon. It's a
right?
design element. So it's not an icon. It's not a logo, right?
Yes. So anything similar to that people can use in their
Yes. Now something like this, I would say. Now always I try to align at the edge. So then maybe this also needs to align to the right. I want to adjust the width of the or space between the letters to make it distinct, right align. Yeah, this is one thing we need to pay attention. All the text, wherever you want to try to focus on the aesthetics of trying to align with the margins. And in Canva, what you can do is if you want to select a few elements together, all you need to do is click outside, drag and drop, drag and select those, and you can then change by dragging the corners, right? So now it's nicely aligned. Something like this, I would say, but I'm not very happy with this design. It's not working for me. This is what I do. I'm just trying to see how I can create this. When I sit for creation, sometimes ideas flow. If it's not flowing, all you can do is you can do a copy. Yeah, copy of this. Maybe I'll come back to that. Maybe it's not flowing. I take this, maybe not the guitar, something else. I look for inspiration for music. I search for elements. What else? Music. I actually like this. Maybe I'll bring this element. You know what? This is a great idea. What if I don't need the N because the shape of this note is very similar to M. You can use something like that. But now the readability of that needs to pop out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background. So if you go to background, you can click on any of these backgrounds, right? So I click this background. Makes it much better, but it still needs to pop out in terms of those elements. And you need to make sure that the background is of the right color. So what you can do is right click, detach the image from background. Then you'll be able to select the actual color. Click on the background color here. And if you see in Canva, you have this, if you put an image, they'll say photo colors. And you have all the PMI brand colors. Because I've already defined the Toastmasters palette, I will click on this. I don't trust this accuracy. So maybe I'll select this blue. But what happens is all the text is now in black, it doesn't contrast. We need to think about contrasting this. So we can probably pick a lighter shade, maybe a white, and this could be in yellow. This could probably be this. Yeah, this could be, we'll use only 3 colors mainly.
And Toastmaster Anup, if possible, can you also show how people can resize it according to their requirements? For example, for an Instagram post, the size will be different.
Yeah, so I'll get to that. Just remind me once I finish this, I will show it. So now it's all lining. Maybe this needs to, maybe this whole thing. Now one element is missing. Who is the TMOD? We don't do, see, again, from a minimalistic design point of view, some things are very obvious, especially if this poster is going to be something which is shared within the Toastmasters community. Everybody knows that this is a Toastmasters club, this is a logo, and this is sort of the theme. You don't even have to mention theme unless you're putting it out for external content consumption. Then you don't even have to say TMOD, just have to say assumed. This way you don't need additional information there. You can just put what is minimal there. And while posting, you can add additional information. For example, if people are consuming it on Facebook, you anyway have description where you can add all that extra information. Try to keep the poster clutter. And again, when you select, you can group these elements and then you can drag and drop. You can see the guide. It's right at the middle. So make sure that you use the guide rails to the pink ones, the pink lines that you see on screen. That is how you know that you are right in the middle of the post. So again, another thing is if you want to increase the size, select all these more around. But I'm not so sure whether this is really hitting this one. How can I use imagery here? I've just used some bits of elements to explain this and text. Maybe the TMOD suggests, hey, you know what? I need you to use some images to jazz it up. I'll go for another version of it, copy it. So all you need to do is copy it, work on a different version. So I'll take off this. Now let's look at some images, photos, and say friends sharing music. I like this. This is nice. And it actually has meaning because it's people having no boundaries, sharing the joy of music. But then the readability of this becomes less because of I've used the yellow. What we can do is we can play with transparency. By playing with transparency, you can still make it readable, have the same kind of an effect. Away from her face. If you want to crop the image, you can just double click, maybe crop it, drag this down, and pull it up there. Enter. Music, that's fine. There you go. Another version. So I would like to ask all of you, which version do you guys like? Maybe not here. Have it centered. Okay. And probably you can do the letters nice and big. Maybe here's something that we can do in terms of the limitations that we have in terms of fonts. Are saying you can use the effects. You can use effects to have shadow, lift, hollow. Let's say hollow. And if I increase the size, not on this, maybe on this, let's say I want to have that effect. You can use this, but now it is using. Then you can see that there is a guide rail saying that it is aligning to those other two elements. If you want another set of effects for the name, you can do this.
Okay, and can you please repeat or just repeat telecast? How did you place the photo in the background? Yes.
All I did was I picked an image, assuming that this is what I've uploaded. So all I do is, okay, let me do that again. So if I have this picture, okay, I've just dragged and I placed it here. Right now you can just try to play with the alignment. Okay, it is aligned, but I don't like so much of space on top. I need to edit this. So double click, pull down and pull it up a bit. And then we need to work on the transparency because then it can be readable. Right? Now, for example, I don't like this. I need like a thin extra light. And I don't want any effects. A thin. And maybe this has got more impact. If I use one of the elements here, drag and drop. And you can play with something called layers, although technically it's not called as layers, but the concept is same. So what you're doing is you're playing with the position. So right now it is at the background. You can make it forward, you can go back. Yeah, this is how you can play with layers within Canva. And this probably I can put it now. Any more questions?
Yes, there was one question. How can you make the gradient palette? Like, for example, at the top, it's like a lighter shade, but at the bottom, it's a darker shade.
So here in Canva, they have given a gradient. It's a transparency. So I've used one of the existing templates and I've created this. But more specifically, if you can go to the elements section, you have something called gradients. Yeah? And gradients, let's say, for example, this. You see, Canva already has these preset gradients. You have two colors, and it's varying from one color to the other color. That's what the gradient effect is. Now here, you can pick the gradient, go to Toastmasters palette or the choice. So for example, this is something important, something very basic. All these colors have a hex code. Yeah, you can see that when you hover over it, you see the code 772432. That is the hexadecimal code for that particular color. And this code is actually given in the brand guidelines. So all you need to do is if you type 772432, yeah, that's the PMI color, right? So I want to pick this. That's the first color. Then I want to pick the second color. I'll pick the blue or maybe yellow or maybe the blue. So you see you have a gradient effect. Right? So this could be a background. And then you need to say position backward, backward, backward. That's it. So you're not checking the gradient of that particular poster. But I don't like this gradient. I'll stick to the original one. You can do undo, Control Z, Control Z. How are we doing on time? I'm not able to see the timer. Something like this. Be added. Now you have a poster with a video element in it. And you can even crop the video content if you want. You can even snip it by just dragging and saying, okay, I don't want the first 1.2 seconds. Or you can, it's limited, but it is effective, at least for some simple posters. You can do all this on Canva. You can also add music.
Toastmaster Anu, people are asking question regarding the music, the word, how you have structured it. Is it like brand compliant?
It is compliant. If you see, it is Montserrat. I'm not changed the font. It's still Montserrat. That's why I said you can stretch that guideline a bit with gradients for the color, with this kind of element or effects. The same, I've not changed the font. The font library is same. Let's say if I change into, you can't do this. You need to go back to your base font. Any more questions, Mida?
Yes, there is another.
I mean, this is not enough. I mean, no, even 40 minutes is not enough, but there's so many aspects to show. Yeah, any more questions?
Okay, so there are a few doubts people are having about what would you say about the picture of this gramophone in the poster?
Yeah, there's no, what do you say? It's not part of that list what they have given in the brand manual. From a brand point of view, definitely it's acceptable to do this. But does it give the message of a Toastmasters? That's a balance, right? You need to really think hard how I can convey the message of Toastmasters with this particular theme. If you have a Toastmaster who is into music, maybe pick a picture with that. That's a better choice.
Sounds perfect. Okay, now there is another, they need a bit clarity on this. Can Toastmaster International logo be only placed on the TMI gradient, or can we place it on plain colors?
You can place it anywhere, but make sure that you don't have these white backgrounds. This is a transparent one. I know that we have other kinds of JPEG images which has a plain white background, and that on this another color looks a little odd, looks not so aesthetically pleasing.
So they only need to make sure it should be PNG image.
Yeah, if it is PNG, and see some clubs for the effect, let's say for example, I want to use a monochrome effect. That means I want to do the entire poster on black and white. And under Toastmasters, you have, if you go to the website, you will have a particular image in the brand portal, which is monochrome. Then use that because it is congruent with what you're trying to do. So this is the place where you can go. And for example, these are the logos. So you see this logo, this color, grayscale. I would use a grayscale PNG, download it. So somebody asked me earlier, how do you add pictures into the, all I did is just click, drag it. What you can do is just pop it in here and you have the asset in your workspace. Any more questions?
Yes, there is another one. Can we use the Toastmaster International logo as the main image?
Yeah, you can. Nobody saying no, but what is it you're trying to convey? Use that on a poster. So as long as that is not mentioned in the manual, I would say go for it.
Before you are wrapping up, Master Anup, don't forget to show how you can resize the poster according to the requirement.
Yes, that's a good, thank you. So for example, this is for a Facebook post. And again, this is a portrait mode. If I want to say, okay, I don't like this design, I want it in a landscape format. And luckily in the paid version, mind you, there is a feature called resize. It is not available in the free one. So this is something that a goodie that you can get if you have the paid version. So I will say, okay, you can put it as a Facebook post. See, copy and resize. What it will do is it will create another project and the sizing has changed automatically. Of course, now you have to come here and play around a bit to make it suitable for this particular size. And maybe let's say I don't like this, I want to do it for an Instagram. So you can go to resize, use an Instagram post, which is a square. Same time, everything, all the items in the, I find this very helpful if you're playing with multiple social media channels and you're hard pressed for time to create specifically for each channel. And the cost of Canva is not that much. It's probably $10 a month, and I use it for my other business. So for me, it's very helpful. Okay, any questions?
Yes, there's another question. Can they blend in shadows or 3D effects at the background?
Can you blend 3D effect?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm understanding that question correctly.
I believe they're asking, for example, if you are giving a 3D effect or a shadow effect to an image on the
Yeah,
poster.
yeah. There's no reason why there is creatively. I mean, you can go explore that. No issues. I think there will be some examples that you can start off with here.
And
Sometimes you have to just keep scrolling to figure out where they have.
okay, now there is another interesting question. Can they use maroon color on club poster, or is it only restricted for area posters?
No, but you can use all the colors in the palette. There's no restriction.
Okay, and there's another one. What should we do for the corporate club? Can they use their
So
company logos along with the
yes, so that's what I already mentioned earlier. So you can actually have the Toastmasters logo. Do not put it side by side, diametrically opposite. Yeah, either at the other side of the poster. That's okay. How are we doing on time?
We have exceeded time by 7 minutes, so
Okay.
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll quickly show you one more thing. This is a video that we created for the district. So this is entirely created on Canva. I think you must have seen this on the YouTube channel of district. And this got animation, and you see you can use these kind of design patterns at the back. That's what Canva gives you. It's complying with the colors, but with subtle stencils, you can enhance that background. You can do all these kind of small little techniques. So you can actually detach that stencil. This is something which I had on another template. I just took it from that template and I used it in this. Yeah. So Canva has already got all these, you know, digital assets created in various templates. All you have to do is look at the template, see if it is a paid one, if it is free to use, and if you are complying with the guidelines, please use them. Yeah. Uh, uh, Stephen, one more thing I can tell you. I think a lot of people in the area and division will create these posters where they are thanking people and so on. So some of the pictures that you get is not with clear background. You can eliminate some things. There's a cool trick that you can do. Let's say if you get a picture with some example here. For example, this picture, I have Ian. I want to use it, right? But I have all these people walking around. I want to eliminate that. All you have to do is go to effects. There's an app which is plugged into the Canva. It says background remover. It's as simple as that. What it's doing is the algorithm is figuring out, yeah, and what is the background, and it removes and just creates a nice little image that you can use anywhere. So these are things that you can do to enhance your poster and take away all those distracting elements. So I hope this was helpful. I mean, the learning doesn't stop here. There's plenty more things. I would request all of you to just start exploring. Try to create those posters. This is how I started. 2 years back, I didn't know Canva. I had no idea what poster making was. But last 1 year, I've been doing posters and I've learned a lot. So this has become a little bit of a passion, trying to learn new tools. And yeah, hopefully we'll see fantastic posters from Division L and all of you great Toastmasters. And I would like to thank, first of all of you for taking your time out and coming in for this workshop. Hope it is helpful. Second thing is I would like to thank Stephen for his efforts and the complete support he and his team has extended to us. Of course, thank you, Toastmaster Midhat, for moderating and helping me in this session, and the wonderful facilitators for the poster review, Toastmaster Anita, Toastmaster Shirali, Toastmaster Gayatri, and of course, the other team members who are part of the Division LPR. Today, some of them could not make it, but they are always there in the team supporting us in creating and promoting the values and the message that we want to convey to the larger audience, to the public, and within the community. And we are always there to help you. Doesn't matter whether it's a Division L, which club you belong to. Please approach us if you want any help, if you want any guidelines. We would like to help you out. Collectively, we'll grow. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Can we have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Anup? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anup. The first educational event of Division L, we knew we made the right choice of having a 2 hour, now this is actual masterclass, 2 full hours of PR tips, what to do, how to create a poster, etc. I can see Soumya can't wait to log into Canva and make the next poster thanking you. So thank you so much, Anup, for that. Thank you so much, Midhat, for moderating the questions. And like you rightly said, Anup, all the facilitators and the Division L PR team. The Division L PR team itself contains around 6 to 7 people, guys. So we have a vibrant young set of people there in that team. So thank you so much. Thank you all for attending. Before we close, I request all of you to please fill in that feedback form. Talk about what are the events that you would like to see in the future from us as well. And we will definitely try to do that. So as a parting note, we just want to say thank you to Anup, the entire team, the area directors, the division team, everyone who Even if you did a small part in it, we are really grateful for that.